You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
And good evening. Wah. I don't know why, but that's so much fun to do it that way.
Count Chocula.
Right? Or, no, not it's the Count from Sesame Street. We got one bat. Two bats. Three bats. Right. So it is Monday, March 30th. It is our last happy Monday of March. And Georgia cannot be with us tonight, and I can't remember why, but she's off doing something that's not this. So I guess we'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
So, not entirely sure what to talk about tonight, although I do have several stories pulled up, and there's lots of crazy things going on in this world. Way too much for me to even start to cover tonight. So we'll just pick a couple of random things that are a little weird.
Well, what were we just harping about?
Shit, I don't remember.
That lawsuit.
Oh, yeah, the lawsuit. You want to get on that one first?
Sure. You were going off on a tangent. That was perfect for radio, like 30 seconds before we started the show.
Right, let me figure out which page this is on. All right. So, in a news article today on Reason.com, in an article by Jacob Sullum, he has brought up an issue here that well, fuck it, here we go. In a brief filed on Friday, Colorado Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman asks the Supreme Court to reject a lawsuit in which Nebraska and Oklahoma seek to overturn her state's regulation of the recreational marijuana market. Kaufman argues that Colorado's neighbors are suing the wrong party in the wrong forum for the wrong reasons. Even if they get the result they claim to want, she says, it will not address their complaint that marijuana bought in Colorado ends up in other states. Unlike the sheriffs who filed an anti-legalization lawsuit in federal court this month, Nebraska and Oklahoma are not trying to negate all of Amendment 64, Colorado's legalization measure. The two states are targeting only those provisions that deal with commercial production and distribution, not the provisions that allow home cultivation, possession, and sharing. They argue that regulating marijuana farms, edible manufacturers, and retailers violates the Controlled Substances Act, and therefore the Supremacy Clause. But Nebraska and Oklahoma say they are, quote, not suggesting the CSA requires Colorado to criminalize marijuana, end quote, a position that would clearly contradict well-established principles of state autonomy. The plaintiff states, in other words, are requesting this court to allow Colorado to legitimize in-state demand for marijuana while limiting the state's ability to regulate and monitor its supply, Kaufman says. This is a recipe for more cross-border trafficking, not less. And this article goes on, but what it's coming down to is that Nebraska and Oklahoma are upset with Colorado because we have a sales and distribution program. They're not upset that it's legal. They're not upset that we can grow it, but they're upset that we sell it, and they think that that's helping it come across. So they want the regulations changed. And let's see, here's why.
But then they're saying their beef isn't with us. It's with people who said we could do that.
Right.
So why are they suing us?
Let's see. Well, it says even if Nebraska and Oklahoma had a legitimate beef, Kaufman says, it would not be with Colorado, but with the federal officials who have responded to legalization with prosecutorial forbearance instead of a crackdown or a court challenge. Quote, because the federal government is responsible for enforcing the CSA, any alleged gap in the federal drug control system is the result of federal, not state, enforcement policy, Kaufman says. The plaintiff state's quarrel is not with Colorado, but with the federal government's relaxed view of its enforcement obligations under the CSA. So basically, what is being said here is that our new Attorney General is telling Oklahoma and Nebraska that it's not our fault, it's the fact that on a federal level, they said
we can do it.
That they're not going to go after states that they're not going to fuck with us. So if they're not going to mess with the states that are legal, then of course, now it's the federal government's fault because they're not going to prosecute. Maybe it's the federal government's fault because they're criminalizing it all in the first place. Like, imagine if it was legal in Oklahoma and Nebraska. Guess who wouldn't really have much of a problem, especially if they developed their own marijuana programs, taxed it, made their money, got people to support their own state, because now Colorado is super Colorado proud. Not that we weren't before, but...
If people don't know, technically, federal law overrides state law, but marijuana isn't the only instance where states do this type of deal either, where they make revenue off. They have different taxes for their states than other states.
Well, what I really find funny is that Nebraska and Oklahoma they're angry because Colorado is regulating so strongly.
Like us being like, oh, you get taxes from that corn you make in Nebraska, so we're suing you.
Well, no, it's more of that they're saying that the excess that the regulation is cutting out is flooding the markets in other states. So they're saying by regulating too much, if you're only allowed to have 100 edibles and somebody else made 1,000, those 900 got to go somewhere. So they're upset about that too. So it's very silly. But regardless, that's a small update as to what's going on there.
If you were wondering what was going on with that.
Because it's an ongoing issue.
Lawsuit majig.
This will be an interesting year, and I think next year is going to be quite an interesting year, given that it's an election year. And again, I think I've said this on the show before, that America has a 8-year amnesia cycle. That every 8 years we forget how shitty it was 8 years before, and we vote for that same party. We're not smart enough to try a third option, even though there's like 10 or 12 different choices on the ballot. We're still content with the same two terrible choices. So what the fuck is wrong, America?
Same last names.
Right, we get a shitty name in there, like Bush, and we think, oh, well, fuck, they did all right the first time. Not, but let's do it again. Let's try it again. Oh, well, this guy is a fucking doof. He won no elections, but somehow was president twice. And rumor has it Jeb is going to run in 2016. So
Jeb Hillary.
God, that's a frightening thought right there. You know, Bush versus a Clinton, part 3 or part 2.
Well, then we should just vote the women in just to say we did it at least once, and then we just need a new system.
Well, yeah, but there's better. There's like Elizabeth Warren or Jill Stein. Those two women are saying things that I think make a little bit more sense. Now, I'm not saying I know everything about them and that I'm jumping behind somebody like them, because I don't know. I don't know how they feel on all the important issues. I know that I was a huge Ron Paul supporter, and his son Rand, I don't really get behind nearly as much. That whole Stand with Rand thing, I don't really follow that. I got an email yesterday asking, was Rand Paul asking me to sign a petition overturning Roe versus Wade? And it's like, go fuck yourself. Like, no, like I can't. I get that you guys are very much an anti-abortion family, but Ron wasn't trying to shove that shit down our throats every couple of sentences, where Rand, I think, really is. And you know that case that happened in Longmont a week or 2 or 3 ago, where the lady got her baby cut out of her, which is a terrible story. I mean, it's a terrible circumstance. The whole thing is terrible. But apparently the other girl wasn't brought up on murder charges, and some people are getting really upset about that. Well, yeah, because they say, well, you murdered the baby, and it's like, and I don't have a particular comment on this because that's a touchy one. Subject. But I do know that it would be a precedent-setting case that if they did find that murder, then that would change abortion laws just like that. So, you know, when I saw that story, I was a little concerned. I mean, I was completely concerned for the lady who was attacked, but I was also concerned about just general rights in this country. While I don't have to worry about getting pregnant myself, I believe firmly that women have the right to their own body. And while, yes, abortion may be taking the life of a living subject, it depends on particularly what you believe in. I believe that the soul enters the body at birth, and so I also believe that the body is a carrying case for the soul or whatever energy, whatever you want to call it. And so that when the body dies, the energy is just released to go on to its next phase. So if that soul never made it into that host body, then it doesn't really matter. So you have to check your beliefs. You know, if you're one of those religious fundamentalist nuts and you think that that's murder and that kid is going to go to heaven or not going to go to heaven or something like that, I don't want to get into this. Holy shit. This is going to get bad. So we're just going to leave it at that. So I believe that women have the right to their own body. You know, but that one's still a fair debate too, because if that's my seed in your body, then I don't know. That gets tough.
Yeah, right.
Sarah, you're a woman. Why don't you chime in on this? You have a vagina. Let's get you in on this.
Yeah, right. I think anybody who partakes in it has a right, but there's also those instances where the raper goes after the woman for the child, for rights for that child, which is kind of weird, and I have read about it.
Well, and that's twisted.
Yes, very.
And that's a tough one too.
It's a very tough
one. How do you? I mean, I don't know. I think if you do it forcibly, certain rights should be negated.
You shouldn't have those rights.
Right. Like you don't get those rights. In fact, I think that if you forcibly rape a woman, or a man for that matter, that they should bring back certain corporal punishments. You know, I mean, if instead of having some ridiculous fucking halftime show like Katy Perry or Prince and I like their performances were fun, but I think that if for Super Bowl 49 we hung a child molester and a rapist and a murderer, you know, guillotine, noose, you know, bring out the gallows. I mean, do a few of these things at halftime, announce their crimes. I think that by fourth quarter, not only would motherfuckers be driving home sober to go take care of their significant others and their children, but I think life all around would just change in a much better way. I think this whole... Okay, so 5 years ago I was in jail for whatever reason, and my cellmate at one point in time was in for his 10th DUI. His 10th DUI. Now, that guy was a very nice guy. Very swell guy. Nice.
He just was addicted.
Well, right, and that's whatever. But at what point do certain things become legitimate crimes? You know, I mean, me and Jenny were hit by a lady that was driving with no license, no insurance, wasn't her car, and she was driving the wrong way, drunk. It was her second or third DUI offense, and she was still out roaming free, didn't seem to learn anything from her prior problems, and proceeded to kill somebody and severely alter somebody else's life forever. And she'll be out in likely less than 5 years in a halfway house. So this is our justice system. We're worried about marijuana
when we have thousands.
When we got murders and shit out there. I mean, there's people in jail for non-violent drug offenses. People are getting out on parole after doing terrible things. Welcome to America, the home of the most heavily incarcerated population on Earth. So I guess we're getting close to taking a break, but I do got a couple other stories to talk about. So we'll get to those here in just a moment. We'll be right back.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Dispensary owners and growers. In today's world, it helps to be insured. So call Cuffle, Collimore & Company, where we provide medical marijuana insurance for dispensaries and growers. Are you looking for insurance that protects you against property theft? Then give Cuffle, Collimore & Company a call. where we include product liability and professional liability, as well as crop insurance for growers. Remember, find us at mmdispensaryinsurance.com or give us a call at 877-335-1234.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On Grass. Runongrass.com.
Catch a case on the Mondays? iCannabis Radio has you covered. Happy Mondays with Georgia and Jeremy is back now.
And we're back. So, what were we talking about during the break? Oh, yeah, this lovely story. So, this one's a harder one to talk about because I don't quite know all the facts. I don't think anybody's ever going to quite know all the facts, but, you know, from the video that I saw and the information available online. As many of you may have heard last week, we have what is being called the third marijuana-related death. In this particular article, it says police in Colorado are investigating whether edible marijuana gummies led a 23-year-old Oklahoma man to commit suicide. Luke Goodman of Tulsa, Oklahoma, died at a hospital on Tuesday after shooting himself in the head while under the influence of marijuana gummy bears. Goodman, a recent graduate of Oral Roberts University, was on a family vacation at the Keystone Ski Resort in Colorado where recreational marijuana is legal. I know, oh my God, because we got legal alcohol here too, which kills tons of people, but nobody freaks out about that. Earlier in the day, Goodman and his cousin Caleb Fowler legally purchased $78 worth of edible marijuana gummies. Each gummy contains 10 milligrams of the active ingredient in marijuana, which is the recommended dose for an adult consuming the edible. After the first gummy, Goodman ate 4 more when he did not immediately feel the effects. Not knowing how to read, apparently, the package. Equal to 5 times the recommended dosage. So 50 milligrams, or 0.05 of a gram. His mother said her son probably did not see the container's warning about the 2-hour delay in intoxicating effects. So the package was clearly labeled. See, I'm having a hard time with this story because I'm a little biased. I don't know all the facts in this, and I'm offended that the lady...
Well, isn't that the Christian website?
Yeah, well, this one's on the CBN network, which is Christian Broadcast News or whatever. There's a ton of articles.
So they're saying they don't think it was properly labeled?
No, she said that... The mom said that she didn't believe that her son read the warning that was on the package. And in another video that I saw, she said that, yes, I believe that it was 100% the marijuana's fault. So I just want to get that out there. So right there, that turned me off to this. Like, there's... If anyone out there listens and they've eaten edibles, yeah, they're not for everybody. And there's always...
I don't like them very much. I smoke weed every day, and I don't like edibles very much.
Right.
Like, I'll do them. It's almost like doing an acid trip or something. I gotta choose a day where I'm not
commit
doing
to it.
Shit, and
right.
I commit to it.
You do.
It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go snowboarding, so I'll eat a shitload of edibles. If I eat a shitload of edibles, I'm gonna be couch locked.
And people do that. And I always wonder, like, how do you have a successful snowboarding day bringing a candy bar with you? Like,
I love just going to the woods to smoke a bowl.
Right. It makes me, like, edibles make me really tired. I've eaten a 2,000 milligram loaf of blueberry banana bread once that Jenny made because it tasted so good. And the loaves were this big. I mean, little tiny, fit in your hand, 2,000 milligrams. So it was 2 full grams. We mixed in 10 grams and made 5 loaves. So, like, you cut it in half, and that's still 1 gram, and that's 1 bite. You put a little pat of butter on it, you're like, oh. One
I
fucking gram
understand why
gone.
people love it. People like to get fucked up.
Right. I mean, I slept for like a day and a half, but you know, that's me, and that's the thing. So I get angry about things because I think that this is just full of shit. I don't think that somebody would eat 50 milligrams and be a completely normal, sane person beforehand and eat 50 milligrams and just snap and blow their brains out. Like, that's the most fucking ridiculous. People don't do that on LSD. Like, I haven't seen a story, and we may have to look that up during next break and see when was the last time that somebody on LSD killed themselves. And it might be
surprised if it wasn't sooner than later.
well, and there may be stories out there like that, but you don't see them sensationalized, and that's LSD. I mean, that if you haven't done LSD, then you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But you can literally watch cartoons in a mirror that in a dark room that you can't see anything, and full color cartoons. So, you know, I don't know. 50 milligrams just seems like, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but just the thought angers me to think that the mother is outright blaming. It's definitely the 50 milligrams of sour gummies that he ate that made him blow his brains out. He definitely wasn't having any problems, no pressure in his life, no nothing. I don't know. I'm sorry. This is really insensitive, and I really didn't want to cover this story, but whatever. It had to. We had to touch on it at least. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that story alone. And my tablet froze.
Da, 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 da.
Yay, technology.
I don't know. Every single one of these Nebraska kid who got thrown off a balcony, this kid from Utah, they all seem like they're from states where they can't readily get it, and then they all overeat it, so they all get really messed up. And when you do that and you're not prepared and in the right state of mind, bad things can go down.
Well, allow me to add a separate story, not from the United States. 2 Norwegian teenagers have been arrested for bringing Easter cakes with massive doses of marijuana inside to school. 3 teachers suffered from food poisoning and sought medical help. The, quote, joke was revealed when several teachers and other employees of Lear Upper Secondary School experienced symptoms of a mysterious illness and found themselves having difficulty remaining on their feet, local media reported. Quote, they felt ill. They were dizzy and felt totally out of it. They were basically bedridden. Head of the local police, Arn, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try, told Norwegian state broadcaster NRK on Thursday. Nobody suspected the bakers until 3 teachers were taken to the hospital where blood tests revealed they were sickened by large doses of cannabis. At this point, suspicion fell on the Easter cakes. Quote, when we began to unravel it, it became clear quite rapidly which of the cakes it had been. The school knew who had baked the special cake, so we were on the trail of the cake bakers relatively early, the local quoted as saying. And this is a story from RT. I had to go make sure check this out, make sure it wasn't satire, because some of it just sounds like shit, but it's, you know, that's how ludicrous this is. If you're in the cannabis industry, you know. But on the other hand, it's I'm sure it can't be the entire miracle plant that we always keep trying to preach that it is. I know people that are allergic to marijuana, which makes me believe that means that their cannabis receptors or their, the cannabinoid receptors are either closed off or they're almost permanently full. So any intake of external sources of cannabinoids would just make you sick. So that's my theory. I don't know. Amateur scientist. The students who brought the cake to school to share with their class were arrested the next day after the incident and charged with possession of marijuana. Both teens admitted to filling the cakes with cannabis. And they face even more serious charges of poisoning. Police questioned the students to find out where they had got the marijuana and what inspired them to drug their teachers and classmates. Quote, "What we have here is someone who has not thought about the consequences," they said. "The teachers have actually been poisoned." So, two things with those sentences. They're teenagers. Most teenagers don't think about consequences. That's why they're fucking teenagers. Remember when you were a kid? Oh my God. And then the second sentence is, the teachers have actually been poisoned. Poisoned. So, to me, being poisoned means that it's potentially fatal and does physical harm to your body that doesn't go away very quick. Marijuana, if you take too much, maybe you're not going to feel great. Maybe you're going to have problems, get sick, throw up, hallucinate. These things definitely do happen. You have to pay attention. You have to read the labels. And if you're not experienced, if you're too damn dumb and you're going to try this stuff by yourself, maybe these things are likely to happen to you. But poisoned. It's not like they brought E. coli or mad cow disease-filled hamburger meat to school and poisoned people. They brought cannabis, thought it was funny. They were goofy kids. Poisoned. All right. Stories are going away quick. Let's see. What do we got next? On totally different news, this, with Indiana, I mean, that's another story. We could get to that one too. That one's kind of funny. This story is entitled Oklahoma House OK's Bill Shifting Issuance of Marriage Licenses from State to Clergy. So in most states, as far as I'm aware, you can have the choice to not have to get married by a religious official. You can get married by the state, which, my opinion, if you're going to get married, marry each other. Don't get married with the state and don't get married with religion. But if you're looking for those legal loopholes, and that's why you're probably getting married, then yeah, you got to get married with the state. Sorry, play that game. But if you're getting married for love, don't get married. Anyways.
Don't do it.
The Oklahoma State House has approved legislation that shifts the issuance of marriage licenses from the state to members of the clergy. House members voted 67-24 for the measure Tuesday, and it sent it to the Senate for consideration. The measure, HB 1125, by Republican Representative Todd Russ of Cordell, would replace a state-issued marriage license with a clergy-issued marriage license certificate. Russ says it gets the government out of the business of issuing marriage licenses. Opponents say it is a reaction by lawmakers who disagree with a federal judge's decision to overturn the state's ban on same-sex marriage, which really, when you think about it, makes sense. If you banned same-sex marriage, federal came in and said, nope, that's not fair, and then the state says, well, fine, fuck you, we're not going to release, or we're not going to do marriage certificates anymore, we're going to give it to the obviously homophobic church, and we'll let them deal with it, where they clearly will not, and they can claim religious exemption. So really, it's pretty smart. They're huge dicks, but really smart. And the article concludes by saying, Russ says, the state neither allows nor disallows same-sex marriage under the bill, but opponents, including Democratic Representative Emily Virgin of Norman, says state government needs to be involved in the process. So I just found it funny that a state has said no more. I fucking muted you. The state says we're not going to do it anymore. We're going to find the loophole, we'll pass it off to the religious nuts, and we'll let them say no to gay marriage. So congratulations, Oklahoma. You're huge dickheads. But because I thought, well, maybe this is one of those satire articles too, I had to go look it up. So on the Oklahoma state government website, the bill summary, the research analysis is these couple of sentences. HB 1125, as introduced, modifies the procedure for legally validating marital status. Beginning November 1st, 2015, proof of identity of marital status will exist only in the form of a marriage certificate or affidavit of common law marriage. Marriage certificates may only be issued by a religious official after a formal ceremony to solemnize the marriage. Alternatively, if the parties wishing to be married do not wish to hold a formal ceremony, they may file an affidavit of common law marriage with the court clerk instead. The measure also repeals Section 56 of Title 28, which would eliminate a $10 fee for marriage ceremonies to be performed by a judge. The measure also repeals Section 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 16, 19, and 36 of Title 43, which relates to issuance of a marriage license by a judge or court clerk. So, it's real.
Wow.
So it's pretty fascinating that a state is so bold. Well, so it really just depends on what you believe. So I'm expressing my views as a freedom lover, saying that I feel that people should have the right, if you want to be married and be as miserable as a straight couple, then get married. Now, the state that defied federal law with this loophole, I do have to commend you on that, because that's kind of brilliant. I mean, that still makes you huge dickheads. But Colorado did kind of the same sort of defiance to federal law by legalizing cannabis all them years ago. So a couple years ago. Feels like all them years ago. Holy shit, did I really just say that? I mean, I guess medical's been legal here for a long time. I feel like we need a break. What time is it? 6:32? Holy shit, man. We are 2 minutes past. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Dispensary owners and growers. In today's world, it helps to be insured. So call Cuffle, Collimore and Company, where we provide medical marijuana insurance for dispensaries and growers. Are you looking for insurance that protects you against property theft? Then give Cuffle, Collimore and Company a call, where we include product liability and professional liability, as well as crop insurance for growers. Remember, find us at mdispensaryinsurance.com or give us a call at 877-335-1234.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
The Law Office of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provides criminal defense, family law, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running a medical marijuana center, optional premises cultivation operation, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout the state of Colorado. We're focused on providing high-quality service and customer satisfaction. We will do everything we can to meet your expectations. WarrenEdson.com. Edson, Mayton, and Matz in Denver, 303-831-8188, and in Aspen, 970-948-7183. WarrenEdson.com.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to Cannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
And we're back. So, if you've joined us for the first half of this, we've been talking about some fun stuff that's kind of depressing, and I just don't think I want to talk about that kind of shit anymore. So, let's come up with something different to talk about, shall we? All right, then. I guess I'll go first. I don't really know. You guys kind of threw me off. Oh, yes. I guess we do have to talk about one more story. I forgot. This one's the one that many... Motherfucker. Computers. What can we do? This one's from International Business Times, and I'm sure that you saw it, especially if you lived in Colorado. Marijuana's dirty secret. Colorado pot often contains pesticides, heavy metals, and fungi. Study finds. So that went around, last week? Cycled everywhere. Says much of the marijuana sold in Colorado pot shops is polluted with pesticides, heavy metal, and fungi, and often contains little cannabidiol, the good ingredient in cannabis, a study found. Well, no shit. Sorry, we're just going to editorialize these. No shit. People want to get high. We had medical. Now it's recreational. Don't be surprised when recreational is all about getting high and not about curing cancer. Duh. Anyways, sorry. The surprising results of the investigation into the composition of the state's legal weed, a product that is highly regulated but seldom tested for contaminants, were unveiled Monday at the national meeting of the American Chemical Society in Denver. Now, this article is from March 23rd, so it would have been last Monday. It's pretty startling just how dirty a lot of this stuff is. Andy Lafrat, founder of Charas Scientific, Denver lab licensed to test cannabis, told Smithsonian Magazine. While dispensaries are now required to have their products routinely tested for potency, state regulators have been slow to enforce rules regarding the testing of marijuana for impurities. In Washington state, which legalized marijuana for recreational use the same year as Colorado, officials were quick to begin analyzing cannabis products for things like E. coli, salmonella, and yeast mold, which led to 13% of pot products sold there last year being rejected for failing such safety tests, the Smithsonian said. You know, if I'm trying to read from your website and a fucking ad pops up right in the middle, that really is inconvenient, international business times. The study found today's legal weed is much more potent than the pot of 30 years ago. I mean, imagine that. With all this legal marijuana, people are allowed to grow it, allowed to breed it, and try to modify it to be stronger. Where is this amazing data coming from? In many cases, samples tested today contain 2 to 3 times as much tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, the high-inducing ingredient in cannabis, as marijuana in the 80s. In decades past, weed typically contained less than 10% THC. NBC News reported, modern pot contains on average 18% to 30% THC, a claim supported by previous marijuana potency tests. Such powerful pot is the result of decades of selective breeding and improved cultivation techniques that allow growers to favor certain compounds in the plant, including pot's psychedelic ingredient. The Frats team tested hundreds of strains of marijuana from dozens of Colorado producers using a method of separating a product's individual compounds called liquid chromatography. Much of the weed they analyzed comes from recreational pot stores, the first of which opened in January of 2014. They discovered marijuana samples frequently contained fungi, bacteria, and heavy metals, which the plant can absorb from the soil in which it is grown. Marijuana edibles, food products infused with cannabis, were found to contain solvents like butane, a potentially dangerous substance linked to heart-muscle sensitization. Among researchers' other discoveries was many medical marijuana strains contained little cannabidiol, the compound in pot that is used to treat a range of ailments from anxiety to Alzheimer's. They found the average amount of cannabidiol in Colorado medical marijuana was just 0.1%. It's disturbing to me because, quote, it's disturbing to me because there are people out there who think they're giving their kids Charlotte's Web, end quote. Lafrat told NBC News, referring to a form of concentrated cannabis used to treat epilepsy in children. Quote, and you could be giving them no CBD, or even worse, you could be giving them a THC-rich product which might actually increase seizures. So that's the article there. And again, let's pick apart a little bit of this. This line here, it's disturbing to me because there are people who think they're giving their kids Charlotte's Web. Now, if the people think they are giving their kids Charlotte's Web because they're giving them medicine that looks like and is administered the same way as a CBD-rich strain like Charlotte's Web in a syringe or however, that's their own fault. They're making an assumption. If they bought it as RSO and it was told that it was full of CBD and it turns out that it was just THC and whatever other fun ingredients are in there, that's different. That's misleading. Of course, this article doesn't get to that, but it's from NBC News, so why would we expect all the details? And the International Business Times. I would hate to leave them out. It is their website. So if you think that you're giving your children Charlotte's Web, ask yourself where you got it from. Did you get it from Jim in the back alley behind Ace Hardware because you live in a state where it's illegal? Or did you buy it from a dispensary that sold it to you as Charlotte's Web? So there's somebody to hold liable. If it's not going to be the parents, then maybe it's the dispensary. And if the dispensary, but it doesn't say in here, so it's hard to know who we're supposed to go after. But okay, well, we'll play with this one too. God damn, there's just so many fun news stories. So this one's at least fun. So we're gonna dump this one because, damn it, parents, be fucking responsible. And
Yeah.
people, if you're gonna come to Colorado and do the marijuanas, read the fucking package. If you come from a state that is illegal, then your weed's probably not as good as ours. So, not trying to say that we've got the bombest weed in the world, but just saying, if you come here and you think that you're a great smoker and you're from fucking Arkansas and you sit down and try to smoke here, you're going to have a weird fucking day. Okay? Read the package. If you're going to eat edibles, every single time, read the damn package. See what it says. Most every edible package should say, wait an hour or two before consuming more. So if an hour or two is too long for you to wait, take a fucking Advil. Because maybe this isn't quite right for you. I don't know. I'm just being a dick now. Sorry. Anyways, on to the next thing, because we got to get to a story that's fun before we take our next break, our last break. So if you haven't heard, the report is that Willie Nelson is to launch his own brand of weed, which is probably a good thing, because if he didn't, somebody else was gonna. There probably already is a Willie Nelson strain out there. So from CBS 4 Denver, performer Willie Nelson is reportedly launching his own brand of weed, according to the brand's spokesperson. Michael Bowman told the Daily Beast that the 81-year-old marijuana advocate is working on his brand, Willie's Reserve, and that it will even include branded bongs in stores in states where the drug is legal. Well, you know, Willie has spent a lifetime in support of cannabis, both the industrial hemp side and the marijuana side. He wants it to be something that's reflective of his passion. Unfortunately, it's hard to read on a phone. Much easier when it's here. Fuck phones. Well, you know, Willie has spent a lifetime in support of cannabis, both the industrial hemp and the marijuana side. He wants it to be something that's reflective of his passion. Ultimately, it's his. But it was developed by his family and their focus on environmental and social issues, and in particular, this crazy war on drugs, and trying to be a bright light amongst this. I hate reading off of cell phones. Technology, you suck. Fuck it. We're just going to skip it. Willie Nelson's going to do his own brand of weed. So how many other name brands of weed do we know of? And I mean names, like
Bob
Charlie
Marley.
Sheen, Bob Marley.
Bob Marley's doing it in Seattle.
Bob Marley's alive? Oh, wait.
And
The
his
comedian
kids.
Bob Marley? Oh,
His kids are doing
those Bob Marleys.
Marley
Okay.
brand.
Gotcha. Okay, it's like, wait, is it like Tupac where he's releasing albums still? Let's see, what other ones? Charlie Sheen is still, I just can't get that one out of my head. That one just cracks me up. The Barack Obama strain. Come on, I'm in a room full of potheads. Come on, give me a strain. Anybody? Anybody?
I can't think of any with names.
Peyton Manning.
Is there a Peyton Manning strain? There probably should be.
There is.
Because it's guaranteed to make you feel like he did in the Super Bowl. Fucking not showing up. Sorry. I fucking hate sports. So, It's 6:45. We might as well take our last break now, and then we'll come back. We'll bullshit about what's going on in our lives and the states and all that fun stuff. Well, let's make it fun. It's easy to talk about that shit. We'll be right back.
The Law Office of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provides criminal defense, family law, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running a medical marijuana center, optional premises cultivation operation, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout the state of Colorado. We're focused on providing high-quality service and customer satisfaction. We will do everything we can to meet your expectations. WarrenEdson.com. Edson, Mayton, and Matz in Denver, 303-831-8188, and in Aspen, 970-948-7183. WarrenEdson.com.
Dispensary owners and growers. In today's world, it helps to be insured. So call Cuffle, Collimore and Company, where we provide medical marijuana insurance for dispensaries and growers. Are you looking for insurance that protects you against property theft? Then give Cuffle, Collimore and Company a call, where we include product liability and professional liability, as well as crop insurance for growers. Remember, find us at mmdispensaryinsurance.com or give us a call at 877-335-1234.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
Catch a case on the Mondays? iCannabis Radio has you covered. Happy Mondays with Georgia and Jeremy is back now.
And guess what? We're back. So, no more stories from the interwebs. That shit gets to be a little too much. Besides, if you're listening to us on the interwebs, you've probably already seen most of these stories anyway, so not really telling you a whole lot new. Not really sure what there is new that we can tell you today. Sarah, what the fuck's going on in your life?
Oh, nothing much. Just working away at Top Shelf and playing with the traffic and seeing all these slowpokes in the left lane and just working hard.
Well, all right then.
Nothing new. I mean, nothing new. I have a cute dog. I have 2 cats.
This isn't Tinder here. So if you'd like to date Dara, fuck! Didn't even smoke any weed yet. Well, I mean earlier.
We're about to.
Yeah, we're about to. Warm it up, Chris. What was he talking about? Oh, they were loading bowls. I get it now.
And all the weed fell out.
I love Colorado. So, 420's coming up, and 3 weeks. 3 weeks from today, as a matter of fact. And, what are you doing for 420, Gabe?
This will actually be the first 420 that I don't party or do anything cool.
Really?
I'll just be working.
Well, that part sucks.
Yeah, but I'm fine with it. I don't know, it's gotten to the point where it's ridiculous. I miss when it was in Boulder.
Yeah.
I'll probably wait to see who the concerts are there, because they, like the week before, like 50 concerts get announced, you know. So I'll probably end up going to some concert, but that's usually all I do. I smoke 420s every day for me.
Right. Remember when it used to be fun? You used to look forward to it, like, I'm going to smoke so much pot on fucking 420 that it's going to be silly.
I went to Boulder once, and like I was with all my older cousins, and I just remember my throat was like, I had no water, and I was smoking weed the entire day. Never experienced cottonmouth like that in my life. Like the type of cottonmouth, when you did drink water, it didn't even feel good. It just hurt.
Ouch.
Guess what? I heard Method Man and Redman are going to be playing.
They are on the
I've
April
seen them
19th.
like 5 of the last 10 years on 420, so I think I'll miss them. They do their 2 shows in a row, their 420 show, and then I used to like to go to the 420 show because face it, I'm not gonna stay up till midnight on 420. I'm gonna fall asleep early.
Well, I think they're touring with Cypress Hill this time, which big surprise. They're gonna be here all for 420 weekend. And like you, I don't think that we're gonna be engaging in partying this year. I have been to all the High Times Cannabis Cups in Colorado since they first started coming here. Even been to one or two out in Cali and whatever. And God only knows if you've been to Colorado during a 420 lately. There's a 420 concert, a show, an expo, festival, a gathering, a pre-party, a pre-bake, a sesh, a pre-sesh, fucking parade. I mean, it's great. Like, I'm almost starting to sound like I might be complaining about this. And I don't mean to be sounding like I'm complaining in any way, shape, or form. Like, this stuff is awesome. But for 1 year, I think I want to just skip out on it all.
I want it to be a national holiday where everybody gets off work.
Well,
Right?
yeah, don't we all? Don't we all?
And the thing that really got to me last year or the year before is, I don't know, it's just so dumb the way they had it set up at. When the year where there was a shooting, was that last year or the year before?
The year before.
Which shooting? Oh, at the 420 festival?
At Civic Center.
Oh, yeah, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Oh, fuck. Was that?
I was working Cannibal.
I don't know, but I just remember going to that and looking at, like, all the stoners blocking traffic, walking across Broadway or Main Street and stuff. And all of that on top of that, and then a gun goes off. Somebody could get trampled to death. They need to have it set up where we have, like, it's not just...
But the year before, there was the Stampede, because we had our booth set up for the Mile High Normal bit that we were doing for a while. And people just mobbed through the booths. I don't remember why. I don't know if there was a shooting that day, too. Or
I don't remember one. That was my first one.
Yeah, well, how long have you been in Colorado?
It's going to be 4 years.
So, I don't remember how long ago that was. Fuck. Well, High Normal, 2011?
Oh, wow.
Maybe? 2012, 2011, somewhere up in there. I don't know. Every time's all weird now since the accident. Well, we might be going out to California. All I want to do is go and sit in the ocean and smoke a joint. And I know there's a bajillion private beaches, if you will, in Cali. Yeah. You can roll down the PCH and pull over every 50 feet, and there's probably something cool to look at. Maybe not. You might have to go 100 feet. I'm sorry. But, go a couple of miles, and you probably find a beach that's just calling your name. Just sand, maybe a cave, water, rocks, all you. So I'm gonna go look for that. I think this year. So I'm excited.
Get ready, Cali people.
So yeah, get ready, my friends. Well, anything else that we got for this fun, fantastic evening on iCannabis Radio on our last March Madness? Fucking, what did we ever decide? A marvelous March Madness, some shit. I don't know. I don't think we put madness in there because we don't want to get sued. Not particularly, anyways. So, let's see. I know as soon as the broadcast ends, I'll be like, fuck, why didn't I talk about that movie that we saw, or the weed that we were smoking, or whatever. But, I just forget all that shit anyway. So, that's what I got for this fantastic evening. Sarah, anything else?
Not that I could think of.
Gabe?
No. I'm gonna go fish shopping tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stuff for that.
Nice.
What kind?
Oh, I just got a Frontosa.
Nice.
I'll show you a picture. It's pretty trippy. But I want to, make a biome of this Lake Tanganyika in Africa. And have only plants from there, only fish from there.
Nice.
So I'm just doing that on my day off tomorrow. Pretty trippy.
Very nice. I'm hopefully going to spend part of the day with my daughter. And, yeah. Should be a good week, so I hope that everybody out there has a good week. Gabe, I hope you have a good week. Sarah, I hope you have a good week.
I hope you have a good week.
To my friend Appalachian Man, I hope you have a good week, sir. Georgia, wherever you are, I hope you have a good week. And to all our other listeners, whatever day you're listening to this on, thank you for listening. And, oh, that is a very interesting fish.
Beautiful.
But since he looked it up on his tablet, you people at home don't get to see it. Oh, well, maybe. Here we go. We'll give it a shot. See? The fish is dead. It's not moving. But, or he's stoned. I don't know. It is Cannabis Radio. That's how we roll here. So, I guess we'll be back next Monday, which will be April. So that's a huge month for all kinds of activities.
April.
So, God only knows we'll have all kinds of shit to talk about next week. If we would have looked it up today, I'm sure we could have given you a massive list of things that are starting any day now. So, from all of us here at iCannabis Radio, thank you and fuck your day. Have a great night, great week.
Good night.